Hey everybody, welcome back to the channel. My name is Jason and the channel is The Everyday Card Collector. Today's video is going to be episode 2 of food issued sets. So I did an episode 1 where I shared a couple different food issued sets and then snuck another video in yesterday on a pickup that I had, so I just wanted to sneak that in. But now we're back on to episode 2 of what I have for food issued sets. I think in the first video I covered the 1964 Wheaties stamps. I covered my Post cereal cards, and then I think I did the Salada junket coins, which is the tea coin, so it's like a beverage, almost, food and beverage is what I should be saying. So today, I'm going to cover, some pretty mainstream stuff, much like Post and much like, the Wheaties stamps aren't terribly mainstream, but Wheaties in general is mainstream. But the food issued items, again, that I'll be covering today are basically mainstreamed items. Items that most people are familiar with. I might throw one or two little curveballs in there of what I've got. But other than that, it's kind of the mainstream, less expensive and more populated food issued items. So I won't beat around the bush here. We'll get the camera turned around. I'll show you what I got. We'll have a little discussion about everything that I'm showing and discuss some food issued items. So let's get into it. Okay, guys, got quite a bit of stuff to show, so I figured I'd kind of rattle off, start with I had one oddball that I wanted to throw in here, and I thought I'd show that right off the bat. So this is a Armour Swift coin. So it's Armour Meats. I always say Armour Swift, but it's actually Armour Meats, and this is my Nellie Fox. So it's kind of an oddball thing. It's not the clearest thing in the world to see. But they came in multiple colors, a variety of colors. And they ran these things from in 1955, 59, and 60. And they're basically the same thing or the same image from one coin to the next. So the only way you can tell what year it is by looking at the back. And it had the previous stats on it, and then that'll tell you what year this is. So this is a 1959 because it had I'm sorry guys, I'm not trying to get this close here. It's upside down, but you can see 1958 in there if you can. But this was just a fun item I picked up a while ago. I was at a card show. Guy was selling some different items, and he had this in there, and I just, he was actually approaching a dealer that I know. And I said, do you mind if I pick up that coin? And it wasn't very expensive at all. But it's an all plastic coin. It's an Armour Meats company, and this is a 59. And like I said, they did these in 55, 59, and 60. So a 3-year run and kind of a space in between 55 and 59. But just a cool little item, so I thought I'd throw that out there. Next ones I'll show are kind of fun, and I don't even know if you consider them vintage, guys. And I've shown these on my channel several times. These are from my childhood, and they are a beverage item. So these are the Slurpee discs. That's my Craig Biggio, and I have them from several years. So this is in 1992. Then I've got, this is my favorite one. This is the Tom Seaver, Steve Carlton, and Nolan Ryan. So these are the lenticularly printed items where they kind of, like their sports flicks. This is from 1986, but they kind of have that motion, motion movement to them. That's called lenticular printing. There's my Ozzie Smith, 1991. And these are just fun items. These are fairly inexpensive. If you want to dabble into food items and you want something a little different than a card, these are definitely way to go. My Roger Clemens. That's very cool. So it's portrait action. And again, 1992. And then Lee Smith from the Cubs. Very cool. These would come at the bottom of you get a Slurpee cup, and there'd be almost like a false bottom on the outside bottom of the cup with a tab in it, almost like a Dixie lid top with a tab. You'd pull that, and then your coin would be underneath that. So that was kind of cool as a kid. You'd try to see through the cup to see who you were getting, but it was pretty opaque. So you would just have to, that was their way of hiding who was in what cup. So you couldn't just start rattling through cups to find out what you wanted. So the next 3 sets we're going to talk about are pretty mainstream sets when it comes to food issued sets. The first one I'm going to show, I only have one card of. And this is my 1968 Bazooka. So the Bazooka set, which I considered food issued items, or the Bazooka sets, I should say, I consider them food issued items. They started in 1959 was the first set of bazookas, and they ran, I think, until 71. And some of the sets are more scarce than others. 68 being a more difficult set, more scarce set, which this particular Jim Bunning is a 68. Most of them are hand cut off the side of boxes that the gum would come in. So you can also see some of these. Sometimes you'll see them online, the actual full boxes of bazookas, or the full panel. Box panel is a pretty common thing. These are a favorite in the hobby. A lot of guys love the bazookas, or like at least a lot of guys in the community that I deal with. They love the bazookas, and I do too. I just don't have any. I don't have a ton of them. So I've got that 68 Bunning, and I'll add more as time goes on. But you know, some of them can get kind of pricey. So it's not like your standard. I think I showed in episode 1. I was showing you post serial cards, and some of those are $4 or $5, $2, $3, $4, $5. You know, depending on who you want in bazooka, that can get pricey, and depending on what set, obviously. But that's my 68 Jim Bunning bazooka. So I only had one card for bazooka. The next set I'll show is a pretty prominent set from back in the day, and these are the Hostess cards. So Hostess ran, I think, for 5 years, from 75 to 79. And this is a 77, obviously, because I got the 76 stats there. But there's my Joe Morgan, and these are all from the same year. A lot of these were hand cut as well, obviously. So there's my Tom Seaver. You can see he's pretty well loved and was cut with reckless abandonment. There's my Rod Carew. But again, stuff you can find. Hostess ran stuff for a while. Like I said, 5 years. But I know, again, you can find full boxes and panels and things of that nature. There's my Lou Brock. But just fun, inexpensive stuff. When you start to get into this hand-cut stuff, you know, people stray away from it if they're looking for perfection in a card, you know. And I don't look for perfection in a card. I enjoy collecting them. It's my Carl Yastrzemski. So to me, I think they're fun, and they have a story behind them. So I certainly enjoy collecting these cards. And you can do it, you know, at a pretty reasonable rate. And then the last set that I'm going to show, guys, which I think most of you will know if you're familiar with mainstream food issued items, are the Kellogg's cards. So Kellogg's ran from 1970 to 1983. When I was doing my research, that's what they said, the actual standard Kellogg run. There's my Fergie Jenkins, my 72. But what you'll see is they ran cards for even longer than that, and I've got a couple of them here that I'll show you. So there's my Fergie, 72 Fergie. There's my Reggie Jackson. And I love, and I don't have any. My favorite set is the first year set, the 1970. It's just a really good looking set. 74, Reggie Jackson. 74, Johnny Bench. Great looking card. But these are fun too. Now these are kind of like a plastic card too. Not necessarily lenticular printing, but a plastic coating and a laminate. So you have to be careful when you're buying these. You got to really take a good look at them because they start to crack. And for those who aren't real familiar with these, they had a tendency, because of that lamination and that lacquer on the card, they had a tendency to curl. And if you tried to bend them back out of that curl, they would crack. So when you're looking at these, if you're looking at them online, look real carefully and take your time. If you're buying them on eBay or something like that, or on Facebook, take a really good look at the card because they do have a tendency to crack. And actually, I've heard that people have gotten these graded, and in time, they've even cracked in the slab. So they're kind of sensitive that way. Lou Brock. What year is this? I can't even see, guys. Terrible with these years. 76. That's a cool card. That's a good looking card. And then, like I said, they said, you know, when I was doing my research, it was said Kellogg's ran from 1970 to 1983, but I've got two of these in my collection. And these are lenticular printed, so action sport flicks, if you will, right? And these were 90s cards, and There's my Harmon Killebrew. And I actually pulled these out of cereal myself when I was younger. And there's my Willie Stargell. Very cool. And as far as the years go on this, guys, tougher for me to see this. I'm not even going to begin to tell you what years. 92, I see 92 as a copyright on that one. And the Killebrew, I can't even begin to see that. So 91 maybe. But yeah, so those are the Kellogg's. So these are all, to me, fantastic food issued sets that you can go hunting for and at an affordable rate. The Kellogg's, the Post cereal that I did in episode 1, the Wheaties 64 stamps, and the Hostess are pretty prevalent. Bazookas are fantastic. They start to get a little pricey depending on what set you're looking at and what year you're looking at. You know, the Slurpee discs and the Armor Meats coin that I showed in the Saladas, those are all really reasonable. That's if you enjoy going, or if you enjoy looking at other stuff other than cards. You know, it's just fun stuff to add to the collection. You know, similar to the 64 Topps coins and things of that nature. But that's all I've got for you guys. I wanted to make this quick. I wanted to show off some of the food issued items that I have. I do have other ones, but I didn't want to go too deep into other different sets. I wanted to try and keep it mainstream, and I think I did. You know, a couple of the coins were, you know, a little bit different, but other than that, this is all pretty mainstream stuff. So I hope you guys enjoyed this. It's just a quick way to show some food issued sets and other ways of collecting beyond your standard Topps and Bowman cards. So that's all I have for you guys. If you enjoy and like this kind of content, please feel free to like and subscribe. And we will talk on the next video, guys. Thanks for jumping on, everybody. Bye-bye.